everybody, Bart here. I just wanted to make a quick video about meditation. I've been getting a lot of questions lately about how can I start a meditation practice? What is meditation? How do I meditate? Let's first start with what is meditation? Now, meditation is whatever you want it to be. It's characterized as a process to build mindfulness or an exercise in mindfulness. What is mindfulness? What do you need to mind? Where is your mind? So first you have to figure out where your mind is. So your mind could be at work with your coworkers or with your project. It could be on the road where that guy cut you off earlier. It could be in the stress that you feel from having to help your children with their homework every single day. Wherever your mind is, first you have to figure out what's keeping you from being present. Another aspect of mindfulness is a state of presence, a state of being in the moment. Now, it's cliche, a lot of people say be in the moment, and it's easier said than done, isn't it? It's not very easy. And so first you establish, where is my mind? If I want to be here and I want to be more mindful, if I want to be more present, then my mind needs to be located in this physical space. Now, how do we get our mind to be located in this physical space? First, you start to acknowledge your surroundings. You position yourself in a place of comfort. For me, it's sitting in this modified half lotus position. For you, you might be sitting on a block. For others, you might be lying down on your back with your knees bent. Or you could have your legs up the couch and practice leg elevation, flat spine. Maybe you take a small pillow for the back of your head, something to just support the back bump of your head, because it'll bridge the difference between the back bump of the head and that back bump of T1 on the neck. Because our necks kind of come in, and then we have this external, what we call external occipital protuberance. It's an outward projection that's actually more in line, if you have good posture, with T1, your eighth vertebrae, than it is the other ones that come up to support the skull. So when we talk about corrective exercise and some of the injuries that office technicians deal with, one of those is forward shoulders, rounded head. And so we're always talking about bringing the shoulders back and down, finding a neutral head and neck, sitting up tall, chest up. Chest up is one of those cues that you hear in just about any really good coaching session, whether it's a squat, whether it's a lunge, whether it's any exercise in particular. Having a big chest versus a concave chest with the shoulders forward is going to be in just about every single exercise. Some of them you might be in a recline, but I'm just looking for a loophole there. That's one of the only times that you're going to find something like that. If you're in total flexion of the spine, say maybe we're doing back extensions. So there's a couple loopholes there. Almost every other movement, every other exercise, including meditation, you want to have your shoulders back and down. That's why I've tried to illustrate how it could be laying, it could be sitting up, you could even do standing meditation. So once you've figured out where you're going to be, you start to take awareness of your surroundings. You start to feel the ground. You start to feel the way your shirt feels. All of these things can bring us into the present moment. When we're focusing on our environment, our senses, then our mind is starting to come into this place. And so once our mind is starting to, be tethered to the little area that we're in, we can start to work on being present. Now, once we've eliminated different stressors or pains, aches and pains by maybe sitting up taller, sitting up better, laying down flatter, then we can start to stop worrying about just tiny little things, little minutia, such as that little cramp or that tight muscle. Once you stop thinking about your physical body and you can relax, then you can start to be present. And so what meditation really is a process of becoming present, becoming still, and also becoming comfortable. You can't really meditate if you're in a constant state of stress. So with people with lower back injuries, disc injuries, neck injuries, it's important to get really comfortable. If you're not really comfortable, then you can't meditate. Sometimes you want to meditate on being really uncomfortable. That is a technique. You can put yourself in a situation that's very stressful so that you can overcome it. Now, I don't want to focus on that style of meditation today. I want to focus on that style of meditation, that brings you into the present moment. And it takes you away from stress-causing states of being, such as being in a yoga pose for too long. Now, I've been in yoga poses for too long for the very sole purpose of getting over myself. Part of meditation might be you getting over yourself. A lot of times it's getting over your own ego. And so instead of trying to think about anything, you should take that moment to think about nothing. A lot of meditation is being comfortable, being in a nice environment, a planned, a curated environment, and not thinking, not attaching, not worrying, not being present outside your body elsewhere, bringing your mind, bringing your thoughts into your body, into the space that you're in. So once you're in that space, once you're comfortable, once you've made the necessary adjustments to relax, and then we can start to think about how we're feeling physically. Bring your attention to your body, not your emotions. Think of your body's emotions. My chest is sore. Your chest is a muscle. It's a part of you. If it's sore, then one way that I can work on healing that sore muscle is by breathing into it. So we start to insert the breath, taking deeper breaths, oxygenating your muscles better. During stressful periods of time, we'll find ourselves more likely to breathe in through the mouth. This is a shallow form of breathing, which leads to greater anxiety. And so the way that we need to move into a more stressless environment is nasal breathing. So breathing in back through the back of the throat will capture more oxygen. It's a more successful form of breathing. Now, allergies are heavy. I'm suffering. We're all suffering. We're making do with the best that we can. But I'm still trying to breathe. I do have something for you. This is something that we use quite a bit. It's called a neti stick. Now, the company is called Himalayan Chandra. This neti stick is just a little stick with essential oils that you can help open up your airways. Now, this one in particular is drug-free, all-natural aromatherapy. It's got menthol, eucalyptus, peppermint, lavender, and another extract of menthol. So that's one way that I work on opening my airways. I take this on a run, and I'll use this before I meditate when I start deeper breathing, because it opens my airways. I'll breathe a little deeper, more easily. I've had a lot of congestion lately, and so it takes me the first couple hours of the morning just to wake up. I'll do this before bed. That way I have a little bit more open airway as I start to fade off into sleep. Meditation can be a great way for you to increase your sleep. If you're working on better breathing, especially restful breathing, well, that's a direct translation to your sleep. A lot of times we don't work on the breath, and so getting comfortable while we sleep requires a sort of rhythm, a rhythmic breath. And if our breath is poor and we haven't been working on it, well, that's a lot of work to actually get comfortable. When you're resting or sleeping, something that's a natural byproduct of sleep is a lower heart rate. And so your heart rate's all over the place if your breathing is all over the place. That's why you want to steady your breath. There's a direct relationship between steady breath and a steady resting heart rate. And so once you've achieved a higher ability to breathe, practice breathing, well, then you have meditation in your fingertips. It's all about the breath. It's all about focusing on the breath, focusing on how you feel. Part of the meditation might be in the form of a stretch. It might be that you're trying to really relax and do a little bit of work at the same time. If I'm just in my seated position, well, I'm only really stretching one side. This is just my favorite way to sit. I'm not focused on the stretch here. So I might stop right now and switch sides. And even though it's more uncomfortable than the first leg because I don't practice it, it's not my default, now I'm balancing out with stretching. And so I can build stretch into meditation. My legs up elevation example, that's a stretch into your meditation. You can stretch your arms out, they could be across the body. That's a stretch meditation because these are positions that we don't hold for a very long time, and if our arms are on the ground, well then there's no effort, and then there's this really easy, gentle stretch. And so I hope that you practice some meditation. Again, the best way to do it, build a space, get comfortable, set yourself up in an area that might be quiet. Sometimes people meditate over sounds or to sounds, maybe to get over the fact that they live next to a train station or something. Some of your meditation practice will result in your ability to tune other things out. That's part of the process. Focusing on where you are, how you're breathing, how you feel, letting that fill your thoughts as opposed to things you can't control. So what you can control is your reaction to things, how things make you feel, how you actually feel physically, and how you move, breathe, act to be physically well so that you have good thoughts. Part of meditation is thinking. So if you're thinking about yourself, you're reinforcing values of values of self-worth. You're reaffirming with mantras. Mantras are a big part of meditation. They don't have to be in a 5,000-year-old dead language. They could be anything you want. Sometimes I meditate on things like just one word, love, or together, or peace, or rest. Sometimes I meditate on the very concept of rest. And if it will ever be something that is more than just a fleeting moment, there are days lately, or really minutes, maybe an hour, where I actually forget that there's a pandemic going on. It's wild, but that's because I'm completely consumed with what I'm doing. I'm fully present. I'm not being pulled mentally and spiritually out to somewhere else. So when we started this video, we talked about calling our attention, calling our mindset, calling our awareness to one particular space, the space that we're in. And so as you go out and meditate, practice just this very basic thing, these very basic steps. Let me know how it works out. Feel free to comment. Feel free to send me an email. I hope this was very helpful for you, and we'll talk soon. All right, take care.